Yo, it's Yerk, and today I'm bringing you a step-by-step tutorial on how to make a placement point system in Fortnite Creative. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to use this placement point system in your own creative maps. Now, before we get started, if you guys enjoyed this at any point, don't forget to drop a like, hit subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and all that stuff. If you want to support me, you can use code YerkYT in the item shop, and it really helps me out a lot. Also, last thing, huge shout out to Spankysully and Twin, as I'm using part of both of their placement point systems in this tutorial. Both of their socials will be down in the description if you want to check them out. Now, let's get into this tutorial. Alright, start by opening up the creative menu and going to the devices tab. We're going to want to grab a team settings and inventory device, a score manager, a music sequencer, a trigger, a timer, and lastly a mutator zone. First, we're going to place down the team settings and inventory device and open up the settings. We want to set the end round when receiving from channel to channel 20. Then we're just going to click OK and we're done with that device. Then we're going to place down a score manager and we're going to open up the settings. This score manager is going to be the victory points, so I suggest using a score value of 3, but you can pick whatever you want. Then set the transmit on score setting to the same number that you chose for your score value, so in my example, I set it to 3. Then we need to set activate when receiving from channel to 19, and on score output transmit on channel 20. Now, place down another score manager and open up the settings. For this one, we just want to set the score value to 1, and we're going to set activate when receiving from channel 92 and click OK. Next, we're going to place down a music sequencer. Set the length, width, and height to 0.5, and then set it to start sequence when receiving from channel 100. Then we need to set the stop sequence when receiving from channel to channel 91 and click OK. Next, we're going to be placing a trigger inside of the music sequencer, so place one down and open up the settings. Scroll all the way down and set when triggered transmit on channel to channel 91 and click OK. Now place down a fresh trigger and open up the settings. We want to set times can trigger to 2. Then we also want to set the transmit every X trigger setting to 2 as well. Then we're going to set disable when receiving from channel to channel 3. Then at the bottom, we're going to set trigger when receiving from channel 99 and when triggered, transmit on channel 2. Then click OK and copy and paste this trigger right next to the one that we just set up and open up the settings. Now we just need to change the times can trigger to 3, and we also want to set transmit every X triggers to 3 as well. Then we're going to set disable when receiving from channel 4, and the last setting, when triggered transmit on channel, we're going to change that to channel 3. This is basically what we're going to do over and over again all the way up to 16. So, copy and paste the trigger again, open the settings, and just add 1 to all of the settings in the modified options tab, except for trigger when receiving from channel 99. Leave that at channel 99 the entire time. Once you get to channel 11, you'll notice that when you click times can triggered, it goes from 10 to infinite, and that's okay. We're just not going to touch that setting for the rest of the triggers up to 16. Also, when you do get to channel 16, instead of making it disable when receiving from channel 17, we're just going to set it back to no channel. Now, right below all of your other triggers, we want to place down a fresh one. Open up the settings and we want to set times can triggered to 1, and then we want to make sure that this trigger is disabled at the game start. Then we're going to set it to enable when receiving from channel 2 and disable when receiving from channel 3. Lastly, we want to set it to trigger when receiving from channel 100 and when triggered, transmit on channel 17. Then just click OK, and again, copy and paste this trigger right next to it. Open up the settings, and now we need to change times can triggered and transmit every X triggers to 2. Scroll down and set enable when receiving from channel to channel 3 and disable when receiving from channel 4. Click OK and copy and paste again. Now, open up the settings and we can click on the Modified Options tab, and we're going to add 1 to the Times Can Trigger option, the Transmit Every X option, and both Enable and Disable when receiving from option, and leave everything else the way it is. And we're going to keep doing this over and over until we get to 15, so each trigger should follow this pattern. 4, 4, channel 5, channel 6, 5, 5, channel 6, channel 7, etc. Once you get to 11, again, we're just going to forget about that setting, and the new pattern will be 11, channel 12, channel 13, 12, channel 13, channel 14, like you can see in the video. Now we're going to set up a fresh trigger and open up the settings. We want to set it to when triggered transmit on channel to channel 18 and trigger when receiving from channel 17. We also want to add a 1-second delay and then click OK. Copy and paste this trigger right next to it and open up the settings. We're going to click each of the modified options once so it now has a 2-second delay, triggers when receiving from channel 18, and when triggered transmit on channel 19. Do this one more time, but leave the delay at 2 seconds so it triggers on 20 and gets triggered when receiving from channel 19. And we're finally done with the triggers. Now set up a timer and open up the settings. Set the duration to 10 seconds and then go down and set when complete transmit on channel to 26. Click OK and then set up another timer right next to it. But this time we're just going to set the duration to 3 seconds and when complete transmit on channel 25. Okay, next we're going to need to find somewhere that you can set up a mutator zone that will cover the entire area the players will be in. And open up the settings. We want to turn weapon fire to yes, and then we need to make sure that this is disabled at the game start. Scroll to the bottom and set enable when receiving from channel to 25, and on player entering zone transmit on channel 99. Also, make sure that you're setting the length, width, and height to 100 for all of these mutator zones that we set up. I just didn't do that for the sake of this tutorial, but you need it for it to work. Now set up the second mutator zone, and this one, we just want to turn weapon fire to yes, and on player leaving zone transmit on channel 100. Set up a third mutator zone and open up the settings. We want to turn weapon fire to yes, and we want to turn enabled at game start to no. Make it enable when receiving from channel 18, and on player entering zone transmit on channel 19. Again, make sure you have the length, width, and height for all of these set to 100. Now set up our fourth and final mutator zone and turn weapon fire to yes. Enable that game start set to no. Enable when receiving from channel 100 and then disable when receiving from channel 91. Then set on player entering zone transmit on channel 92. And now lastly, go into your My Island settings and go to the Game tab. Scroll all the way down and set elimination points to however many points you want people to get every time they get a kill. And that's how you get a placement point system in Fortnite Creative. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you want, feel free to check out some of my other videos that are on screen now. Thank you all so much again for watching, and as always, stay up.